What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about a game that we haven't actually talked about for I think like 11 months, for close to a year. But it turns out there is a big new expansion coming for Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth, and that is a game which I am extremely fond of, and it's a game that I very much like talking about. We haven't talked about it in almost a year, because basically nothing has gone and been revealed about it in about a year, but now it has. And it is the second big box expansion, and it looks fun. Here's what they say. War has come to the realm of men. Shadows spread throughout Rohan and Gondor, from the tangled depths of Fangorn Forest to the haunted ruins of Osgiliath. You have encountered ruthless mercenaries that have invaded the kingdom of men under orders from a mysterious figure, and you must strike out to hopefully quell the tide of violence before it becomes too great. How fun is that? Now, it takes place in Gondor and Rohan, and it comes with 15 new scenarios, 6 new heroes, 20 enemy miniatures, 18 double-sided journey map tiles, new roles, new terrain types, and much, much more. Now, if you play Journeys in Middle-earth, like I have, and I'm hoping you have, it's a great game. It's a really, really fun game. Great in multiplayer, great in solo. Outside of Marvel Champions, probably my favourite solo board game. It's absolutely fantastic, though you will need a slightly large table at times. But you basically, for those of you that are uninitiated, there is an app that you download onto your phone, tablet, whatever, and that takes you through the story. There's music and sound effects, and as you go through the scenarios, it tells you which tiles to put down and how to put them down. All the tiles are double-sided, and in that way, it makes the map, it makes the terrain as you go. There are heroes from which you can choose, and then you run around exploring, fighting monsters, etc., etc., finding treasure. Got to find some treasure now, haven't you? It's a really, really fun game. Well, now, it's all about to get a lot bigger, and if we have a look at the new character cards, you might think something looks a bit amiss. Because I told you that there were, in fact, 6 new heroes, but there are 7 new character cards. But if you are a fan of The Hobbit, you won't be asking why there are 7 character cards, because you'll have noticed that you've got Beorn and you've got the Great Bear. Of course, in The Hobbit, and if you've seen the movies, the character is in the movies as well, Beorn can turn into a great bear. And they've brought that mechanic into the game here. So, essentially, Beorn's innate ability allows you to search your deck for the first Beorning, and then prepare it to transform into the Great Bear. And at that point, you swap out character cards, equipped items, and plastic figure. So, essentially, you become 2 characters in one. So your wisdom goes down from 3 to 2, your spirit goes up from 2 to 4, your might goes up from 3 to 5, which is kind of redonk. Now, obviously you cannot equip normal items, that would be a little bit weird, but you do end up with cards like Rending Claws, that when you attack you may discard a prepared skill to add 2 hits. You can have up to 5 hits normally, and you've got things like Hoary Coat there, that lets you suffer all of your damage face down, which can be a huge advantage, because face-up damage can give you debuffs which aren't fun. And after you suffer any amount of damage or fear, you may prepare 1 skill from your discard pile. So these seem like extremely good cards, which are going to really help you out. I love this. I absolutely love this. And, 5 might is kind of ridiculous. If we look at the other cards, we've got Boromir there, who's a mighty warrior, who comes in with a might of 4, which isn't as high as this Great Bear comes in. So, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I think this looks like an awful lot of fun. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, completely shamelessly, my first playthrough, I'm being Beorn. Simple as that. And if you're playing single player, you do actually have to take 2 characters. So I'll take somebody else, I don't know, who doesn't like Boromir. Just pretend he's Sean Bean, because he basically is Sean Bean. But make no mistake about it, like, as far as I'm concerned, I look at this pack, and my first reaction is, Beorn looks amazing. Can I please play as Beorn now? Because I really, really want to. It looks like so much fun. Now, we have had a quick sneak peek at a couple of other Beorn cards here. We've got Beast Tongue. After you interact with a search or threat token, you may discard this skill to perform one additional action, and it gives you Sprint 1. And of course, if you look at Beorn's innate ability, which we had a quick look at earlier, that is the one which lets you, before you interact, if there are no nearby heroes, you can scout one. So, put that all together, you're scouting for free, gaining another action. Then, of course, maybe you bring in Friend of Bees, because Beorn does love them bees. Before you strike, you add Stun to the attack. And it's got Strike 1. So, you're going to be stunning them, and this is going to seem pretty gosh darn good. And then we've got The Day Will Come. After a nearby enemy is defeated, you may discard this skill to become determined or Scout 2, which is kind of awesome. And of course, you're going to try and be looking for the first spawning so that you can turn back into the bear when you want to. This is going to very much help you to do so. So frankly, yeah. And look, the reveal article from FFG, they're focusing on Beorn. The majority of cards they're showing off are Beorn. The only hero they're giving us a proper in-depth look at is Beorn. Let's make no mistake about it, right? They know what the most exciting part of this expansion is. I don't know if that's slightly worrying in terms of if you're not a Tolkien nerd. I don't know if casual fans are going to get as excited. But I suppose even if you're not excited about it, it's still a super cool mechanic. And we're talking about the second big box expansion of a game that's over a year old. Is this the kind of thing that casual fans are picking up at this stage? Probably not, honestly. Now, in terms of the other heroes, we do have a bunch coming in. Obviously, Boromir is a character with whom an awful lot of people are going to be very familiar. Played by Sean Bean in the movies. Proper hero from Lord of the Rings, or at least the first book, so there's a lot going on here. Can't take all that much fear, can take an awful lot of damage, and like I say, you're very high on the might there. The other character which probably jumps out as one that most people will be familiar with is Dwalin. Dwalin being another dwarf that does come in the Hobbit's books, or book I suppose, but then it was a trilogy of films, so I'll let you figure that one out. But Dwalin is a pretty well-known character from The Hobbit, so this is one that a lot of people will know the name straight off the bat. Having said that, from what we can see of the card, there's nothing high in terms of stats, so I mean, taking 5 fear, I suppose, is moderately high, but I'm going to need to see a bit more of Dwalin there before I can get excited. And then we've got Freya Hild, Calaminth Took, and Renarain, who are, I think it's fair to say, less well-known characters. So they've gone for 3 who should be known by the vast majority of people who are going to pick up the game, and 3 that are maybe a bit more obscure. Of course, they're going Gondor and Rohan here. They could have gone Faramir and a bunch of others. But I have no real problem with this. Honestly, the second I saw Beorn, I'm like, yeah, we're cool. Sounds like fun to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds like fun to me. Now, there is a little collage of other cards we can see here on the screen. And there are a couple that have gone and been revealed. The way forward is a guide card. When you scout, you reveal 1 additional card. And after you scout, you may discard this skill for a nearby hero to move 1 space. And then we've got Great Hound that you did see a little bit of on the montage there. When you scout, you may spend 1 inspiration to prepare 1 additional card, and it's got Strike 2. Now, in terms of the bad guys, we haven't been given a huge amount of information, and that is very sad. But we have been shown a little collage of enemies here. Well, I say enemies. You've got your 7 character miniatures, and then you've got a few others. But there's a War Oliphant. What more do you need? Now, there's also a Fell Beast, if you're into that, but War Oliphant. And again, they know, FFG know that when we look at this, we're going, hey, Beorn and War Oliphant are coming. And that's all we really need here. Sounds like an awful lot of fun. Now, what I do kind of like is they give a bit more information. The campaign lasts a length of a year in-game, so the decisions are apparently going to follow you around. You are going to travel between the 2 kingdoms, but if you do, you have lasting effects on how the campaign actually plays out Obviously, there are two different places to defend. It's not going to be easy to do both of them perfectly. And it talks about bolstering one kingdom's defenses over the other, or gathering information, or investigating the mastermind. I like this. This sounds like an awful lot of fun. It says that in spring, the mercenary threat is small and easier to handle, but by the time autumn rolls around, they will be truly formidable. New enemy types like War Elephant, Soldier, and Fellbeast all behave in ways that will shake up the flow of combat, such as allowing other enemies more movement or inflicting the new Banes on the players. They tell us we're going to get more at a later date. What we do know is that it is coming around in October, and it is going to retail for $80. So I suppose get your pre-orders in, ladies and gentlemen, if that's the kind of thing you're into. I am a big fan of Journeys in Middle-earth. I would recommend it to anyone that likes, honestly, board games, solo board games, Lord of the Rings. I just think it's a great game. I absolutely love it. It's been a while. We've had one big box expansion before, and I'll be honest with you, the one we had before was the one that brought us in the Balrog and Gandalf. So, it is, shall we say, that was probably the real, big one. This is maybe not quite as headline-grabbing as the last one, but make no mistake about it, it's more than a year later, we're getting a second big box expansion, and as far as I'm concerned, this is wonderful, wonderful news. But I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wafty. That's where we talk about a whole bunch of games, including this one. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far, the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.